Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the 4Corners podcast. I'm Brad, joined as always by Matt and Shad. Gentlemen, how are you doing this evening?
Keeping my stick on the ice.
I won't be on camera tonight, people. I'm just in a location and a camera's not doable. I will be in my regular location next week. Um, so I just brought my laptop this time because the last time we tried to figure this out, it was a fiasco. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't work super good.
Yeah, so tonight we are talking about This Is Spinal Tap. I think it came out in 84, or was it 82?
Or
84, okay.
Yeah, 84.
So we're going to talk about that, but real quick before we get to that, there was some news this week because WWE has all but declared war on AEW. And I don't know, it feels very impotent to me, the things they're trying.
Some of it is. And there's some of it that's insidiously clever.
I don't think anything they've done so far has struck me as super clever because I think the only thing they've done that I think might have any sort of damage is John Cena's last match, and even that I don't think is going to do what they want.
I was gonna. The deal they've struck with ESPN, which then gets them in with Disney properties and that sort of stuff to try and box out another.
Yeah, but they're already on Amazon. ESPN has limited.
I'm just saying, it's like AEW has right now. It's got the Turner Networks, WBD, and Amazon in its corner. And in doing this, I mean that's phenomenal. That's great. But it seems like WWE's running around trying to slam a bunch of other doors shut. And
yeah. I will say though that the real TKO did sign a deal with ESPN, but let's be realistic. WWE is not the gem of that
no.
transaction. It's
Well,
UFC.
Yeah, but they didn't get
it,
UFC though. UFC went to Paramount.
That's true.
So they didn't even get the crown jewel of that because I think UFC is going to Paramount and doing away with standard pay-per-view. So
they are, and people are like, "Oh, it's brilliant." It's like, no, it's people who act like, "Oh, who cares about streaming? It's all pay-per-view." Now they're like, "Oh no, who cares about pay-per-view? It's streaming." It's like, okay, y'all flip on a dime. But
I think for UFC it's a good move, but they got a shitload of money. They got obscene amounts of money, so there was a reason they stopped doing pay-per-view.
But many people, including Meltzer, said, I think he's right, that it's it's a bad deal for Paramount because essentially you're paying them hundreds of millions a year, and it's you're not, the amount of money you'd have to generate to pay for this. It's it's insane. But that's what everyone's doing now. Everyone's just paying incredible amounts of money for these properties.
Yeah.
And I guess it's some people oh well, they can up in carriage fees. It's at some point things have to give, because it's I'm telling you as someone who soon, because we're again hoping to reno our house. We're gonna have to move out and come back. But briefly, hopefully, knock on wood, when we do, which would hopefully be before the end of the calendar year, it's maybe moving out for 3 months. Not even we're gonna move out for a year, God forbid.
Yeah.
But when we do, we've already decided it's we're gonna cut cable. We have cable. We also have all these streaming services. It's I'm gonna pay for internet. I'm gonna cut cable. I don't even need cable anymore. I don't need it because what I watch on cable, not a lot, like Dynamite, Collision, but I can watch that through Max. But I'm saying that even I'm gonna save money by cutting cable, but it's also getting to a point where it's like, do I need all these streaming services?
And
Because it's getting so much that it's like I might as well be paying for cable back in the
and they're
day
getting
because it's
prohibitively
the same thing.
expensive. Like Peacock just
Oh,
emailed
Disney.
me. Peacock just emailed me that for the ads tier now, they're gonna charge me $10.99 a month. And it's like, well, you're on the cutting board
Oh,
now.
I told my wife. I told my wife like I want to like cut Peacock, and she's like, but we watch shows on Peacock. I'm like, what shows? And it's like maybe one or two, but she doesn't want me to get rid of Peacock. So it's like, okay, well, all right, Peacock's gonna stick around for a bit, I guess. But
Streaming
yeah, it's getting to a
streaming
point
did
where
what
it's like too
cable did.
much. Well, Disney Plus is now like isn't it like I think it's like over $20 a month.
Yeah, but you
They're
get
rolling.
you
They're
get
also rolling Hulu in.
They
and
are,
and
they are. So
ESPN
if
ESPN 3 or whatever.
yeah, I would, but I'm not even like saving money there because I got it like years ago,
Yeah.
probably like 5, 6 years ago, 6 years ago, when they did a whole package of like Hulu, ESPN Plus, and Disney at the same time for like one price. And even though the
Yeah.
price has gone up, it's like I'm still kind of it's all packaged in. So it's like I'm
It's
not even saving money, be like, oh, let me cancel Hulu. It's like I'm not even
yeah.
saving money, unfortunately. So
I have the same bundle, and I looked at like, hey, what could I do with this? And as it turns out, still having that bundle is saving me money. Maybe not a
yeah,
lot, but
but
it's
but I have
it's even saving me money if I got rid of if I just got rid of the ESPN Plus that was part of it. It's still saving me money from that.
I think if you did
yeah.
the Max and Disney bundle that they had a while ago, you'd be saving some money, but I honestly can't tell you the last time I turned Disney Plus on and watched something. Like I seem to be pretty married to Prime, Max, and Paramount.
I think
It is used at
I
our
have
house a lot.
well, you and I both have small kids, so
Yeah.
there's a lot of content. And the fact that they're rolling into Hulu, I know they're doing it with the Hulu app, but I basically stopped like using the Hulu app. Um, and I'll just watch anything that's Hulu related. Because there are some shows like Only Murders in the Building. Like my wife and I watched that show. Like I think that's a Hulu exclusive show. Like we're just watching that on. We haven't watched the spin out like the mini series, but we finally finished Justified, and like that was on Hulu. But we finished the last season like on Disney Plus because they all the Hulu content has been moving over. Point is,
Yeah.
between like Disney Plus and Netflix, and let's say you have like Peacock and Max, Amazon Prime, we even have like Apple Plus, Apple TV. Between like all of this stuff, it's like you're paying like $100 anyway. So it's like the same as cable, and
Yeah.
something has got to give because you can be like, well, no, people are dropping cable, which we're gonna do, but at some point it's gonna be like, Disney Plus, $200 a month. It's like I can't.
Yeah,
And I'm lazy because I'm not one of these people that's like, oh, and I got kids, so I don't have time, but I'm not one of these people who is like, let me sign up for Netflix and watch this show I want to watch and then drop it after like 1 month. So I'm only paying for like 1 month. It's like, I'm not going to do that. Like
Yeah.
I don't have the energy to be like canceling back and forth. I
and
don't know.
and like well, even like Shudder, which I liked because it was just a niche horror movie thing. I think it's up to $7 or $8, and it's like, guys, when you were like a $4 a month subscription, I was fine keeping you around for like the off chance I might want to watch a horror movie. But like when you're getting up to like a standard streaming service, it's like you don't have. That's the problem I have is like you get these services now that like have their little niche thing in their library that they can like then pull away from everything, like Paramount with Star Trek or like Peacock with The Office, and then like covet them like a dragon on top of its bed of gold and try to force you to like subscribe, and then they don't have anything else.
Yeah.
I this even applies like to wrestling. Now, I'll take like WWE or Max like out of it, because I mean, obviously, the benefit of the AEW like WBD connection is you can watch Dynamite and Collision on Max, which again, once we cut cable, that's how I'm gonna watch them. Like, it's just gonna be on Max, and I can never watch anything live, but it's like I'll just watch it,
You
on
get the
Max
back
after the
catalogs.
fact.
It's not like a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But other streaming services, like wrestling streaming services, like I think probably like you, Brad, I do Wrestle Universe, which is a tremendous value because you get probably like at least
8.
half a dozen promotions.
I think,
more. Okay, more.
Yeah.
For like $10. Once it's converted from yen to USD, it's like $10, and that alone, certainly for me, it's like way more content than I can like watch. Like
Yeah.
I can't in a month. But even if you did, even if like you could probably like watch a show a day.
Well, even
And
like Stardom is
They
like
had that.
$5 $5 or $6 when you get the conversion rate, and they run so many shows a year. You could, if you're willing to like pace yourself, you could have something to watch every day on Stardom.
Well, that's the thing. Like I just do Wrestle Universe. I'd want to maybe subscribe to like Stardom, or I'd want to try like CMLL's like YouTube show, or even like I used to have like a New Japan World sub, but it's like I can't justify paying money for those because I don't have the time for that. So I'd be paying money. I'd be throwing money down a well, because it's like,
Yeah.
let's say I paid like $10 for New Japan World. It's like if I really go out of my way, maybe I can watch like a show in a month, because that's all I have time for. And it's like, I mean, you can maybe think like, well, $10 a show, but I don't know. I could also just order like the DVD
Yeah.
off like someone like IVP Videos or Jeff Lentz and probably like pay less money. But
And if you don't watch
I don't
it
know.
for a year, like, you're not just putting money down that rabbit hole every month.
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah.
so. The other thing with WWE is, so their big idea is they're going to try and run TNA against Dynamite on Wednesday, which Meltzer immediately pointed
Well-
out, like, why is a network, would you even like really want to do that, because you're already competing for an audience that's already captured with something they're used to. Like, if you got it on Thursday, you might be able to make something of it on Thursday, but they want
Well-
to do. They want TNA to be the number 2 promotion because they think it'll be easier to
I can
control.
control them.
But I think it's delusional
But-
thinking.
Let's take a step back, because let's add backstory to that. But you didn't actually finish your point. Like they're really heavily counter programming AEW, and the stuff that they've done so far hasn't been good, and it's actually, I would say, been detrimental. They heavily counter programmed against what, All Out,
All in.
Yeah.
All in.
All in Texas, and to say it went over like a wet fart is actually like you're doing wet farts.
A disservice.
Because it was such a disaster, and it actually hurt like the NXT brand. No one cared or talked about the Women's Evolution pay-per-view probably like an hour after the show was completed. It was just a complete mess. Like, and so now they're getting it seems like they're getting increasingly more desperate, because now they're taking to like, they're going to run a pay-per-view or a show. I think, like, isn't it like
It's a
the night
pay-per-view.
of All Out?
It's the pay-per-view, and it's going to be Cena versus Lesnar, which I think.
Yeah.
So I think that's. So
If this
I
was
think-
2012, I'd be real excited.
yeah, like I don't understand. So why I think that one's particularly dumb is, one, their fan base is legit upset they brought Lesnar back, and it doesn't seem like it's helped their live viewership at all. But the other thing that I think is bad about it is AEW will run something good, and you're running Brock Lesnar, who hasn't wrestled in like 4 years, against John Cena, who's old and has been crappy this year. So you're pretty much doing like it's pretty much you're running a WCW style main event with old, like, guys pushing 50 against a show that's probably going to have like Adam Page versus someone who's going to be far younger than both of them.
It's I think Lesnar's like 48, 49, and Cena, or it's I think Cena's 48, 49. It's at least two 48-year-olds.
Yeah.
And I'd have to go back, but I think I looked at this for some other match they're doing. Maybe when they were doing Cena versus Cody again, and it's like I'm pretty sure that 97 Starrcade. I don't think it was 96. Maybe it was. Actually, I think it was 96. But
You talking about Piper and
when it
Hogan?
yeah, like Piper and Hogan, and they actually had like a decent match, but like people were complaining it's like, oh, look at these two old guys, and I'd have to look it up, but I'm almost certain that both Piper and Hogan were younger.
Hogan
than
was
Lesnar, Cena
like
are like right now.
Hogan was like 42,
was-
and I think
he
Piper
wasn't
might have
48.
been. Piper might have been. Piper was no older than 44.
Yeah, and
Piper was
and they
43.
were like
Yeah. And what was Hogan?
they were
42?
like considered, old men. Yeah.
44.
44. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're running that, and then they also have announced like they're going to be doing some show for I think in December.
Yeah. So that one got
They're
real.
going to do Wrestle Dream or maybe it's Wrestle Dream. Like they're doing a World's End. They're doing some.
World's End,
They're already going
yeah.
to counter.
That one
they're already
was
going to counter program.
That one was hilarious because they tried to move it to like one night and they couldn't because the NFL was on Peacock.
Yeah.
Or something.
NBC had exclusive rights to an NFL game that night. Now, but we want to put Saturday Night Main Event there, and they're like,
Yeah, we don't care.
it didn't say anything, but when I read that, I'm like, they're not gonna move it. NBC doesn't give a damn
It's like,
about you
yes.
trying to counter program.
Yes, like we want your 1.5 million viewers against the NFL game that'll have at worst, a massive failure of 12 million people watching it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, well, we really want to do this. It's like, well, we really don't care. Like, I never understood why they thought that was gonna. They didn't look at a calendar. Is what I'd be willing to bet.
I think it's dumb because why I think it's particularly dumb with them is we learned from the Wednesday Night Wars, which whenever there's like whenever like NXT and AEW meet up again and people get all excited, it's like we learned from like week 2 of the Wednesday Night Wars that there is barely any crossover between the AEW and WWE audience.
I know that there are some other podcasts out there that claim that when there is counter programming, it does hurt AEW some. They didn't cite their sources on it, so I don't know.
I see no evidence of that
what it
because
is.
it hasn't hurt their buy rates, and if anything, it's only helped their buy rates. Because,
Well, not their pay-per-view stuff, but their TV stuff.
yeah, but their TV doesn't matter.
Yeah, I can perceive that to be like if the WWE is running a pay-per-view and it's like a Collision, they're going up against Collision, then yeah, I could see that because that like a pay-per-view versus like
The B
a
show.
weekly episode of TV. Like I don't want to watch the WWE product, but assume it wasn't, what it is. Take it WWE. Like let's say like CMLL or New Japan is running like a pay-per-view and it's like a Collision against a Collision. I'd be like, now it can't be like TNA's running a pay-per-view or Collision. It's like no, you gotta have a product that's gonna be like there could be crossover. So it's not the perfect analogy, but at least like that CMLL in Japan, Stardom, something like that's gonna have like good quality. It's like you're running a pay-per-view versus a weekly TV show. I'd be like,
It's funny
if
you
I was
bring
going to
up.
pay for the pay-per-view, I would watch like the pay-per-view over like a regular TV show, especially a TV show that I could be like, I can catch the replay tomorrow, or I can watch it on Max tomorrow.
It's funny you bring up CMLL because part of the reason they bought AAA is because they freaked out because the Friday Arena Mexico shows are outdrawing SmackDown.
Oh, and in live attendance, everyone crows about the WWE. Like their attendance has started dropping, and CMLL is routinely every Friday is putting up like 10,000.
I think even the Tuesday shows are like they're doing massive.
They're fire.
Yeah, they're doing massive numbers.
They're probably. I think Meltzer just had something in the Observer about this, that they actually might be the biggest promotion in the world in the sense of drawing drawing actually paid fans. And
Yeah, they were
people try
doing
to
it
give
in
caveats.
they were doing it in 2005 and 2006 and 2007 because Mystico is a legit star.
Yeah. People, and Metzler has been fair with this, but people trying to be like, oh, it's just like a lot of tourists coming. It's like, okay, like, so what? Like, if I'm packing every Friday night, I'm packing my arena that I own, so I'm making like that's money that's more coming in my pocket than normal. Like, if I'm putting 10,000 asses in seats every Friday, and half of them, or at least like some big percentage, like 20% of them, so 2,000 people, if they're all just like, American tourists, European tourists coming there to see what the hubbub of Lucha Libre is, I'm like, I don't care. Like, that's a lot of money in my pocket. And if you continue doing that, like, that's great. Like, why would, if I'm like,
If you're
I
a
was a wrestling
tourist
promoter for even like
destination,
Lucha
like
Libre.
if you're a tourist
Yes!
destination,
If I
like
was,
that doesn't like go away because, and especially like if you're that big of a tourist, because you don't switch arenas. It's not like New Japan where you can't, like, if you wanted to go see a dome show, you have to go at a certain time. And if you want to go to the dome show, you have to go on a specific date. Whereas, like, if you want to go see a show at Arena Mexico, well, guess what? They're there every Friday without fail. So I think that's a
yeah,
big difference. And there's something unique about Arena Mexico with wrestling that you're not going to get anywhere else. So, like, it is a novelty, but like most people that go say it was the most awesome thing they've ever seen, so then they want to go back.
mhm. uh,
And if you get enough tourists doing that, you know what starts happening? It starts showing up in travel brochures and starts
mhm.
getting like recommended, and that
Yeah,
starts becoming a stop for non-wrestling fans. Like it's a self-perpetuating thing.
yeah. Well, it's interesting you mentioned it, AAA, and we haven't really got into TNA because I wanted to do a little more backstory before then. But they just ran like a big show. They ran Triple Mania, and they were crowing about like, oh, like we had so much attendance and everything, and people like who know far better, like Rob Viper on Twitter, was like, actually, your attendance is actually lower than it's been for Triple Mania and with AAA like the last couple of years. It's actually,
Yeah.
and he actually, posted up. I think it was Rob Viper. I don't think it was Lucha Blog. It was one of the two.
Yeah.
And who would know? They would know. So please don't make a fool. It's like trying to argue about like figures and everything
No,
about Dave Meltzer.
there's a
It's
lot
like,
of people that
just
try
stop.
to there's a lot of people that try to
Yeah.
argue with Lucha Blog, and it's just like, no.
It's like trying to argue Cosmere stuff against Brandon Sanderson. He's just like,
Mhm.
no, that's not what it is. Well, yes, it is. Okay, that's not a good example because it's
Well,
straight up
And
creative.
it's always
but
people that know nothing about Lucha Libre. That's what pisses me off. It's
Oh
always,
yeah,
and like, cause like
yeah,
I know, like Matt and I know, like we don't. I'm not gonna say we're not experts. I'm just gonna say Matt and I have probably off and on watched Lucha Libre 20ish years each, and I would not even begin to argue with an expert on it, just because I'm a casual
yeah.
observer for a long time. But it's like I wouldn't argue with these people. Like you don't even know what the fuck it is. Like why are you arguing? Because your fifis are hurt because WWE good.
AAA. There, I've also with Triple Mania, um, I saw people discussing that a lot of actual like Mexican fans, they're not happy because they feel they were expecting a certain thing with the
Yeah.
WWE, and instead what they're getting is just a lot of WWE stars over like actual like Mexican lucha libre stars.
Yeah.
The ones that they actually are getting pushed are the ones who are like basically meme wrestlers that play well, with the WWE, like, jangling keys in front of a baby audience, where it's like they just want their moments, you know.
I was
So
having
they'll see Mr. Iguana go out there and do like a comedy spot, and they love it, versus they don't give a shit about actual like a
Yeah.
lucha libre
Yeah.
match.
I was talking with some friends of mine earlier today, and it was the idea that first of all, if they see something that's getting over, oh, they're going to go after it, and then they're going to drive it into the ground because they look and they see Mr. Iguana with the iguana puppet, and then there's Harley Cameron with the puppet, and they're like, I can just imagine Triple H in a meeting being like, puppet gimmicks are really over. We need to have a puppet gimmick. So they send Finn Balor to have the Demonito puppet beat up on Mr. Iguana's puppet. And I'm just like, you guys cannot help yourselves, can you?
Can I say, like, as someone that's not like a fan, or I mean, I think Mr. Iguana's kind of funny, but like, if I was a fan of the act, why would I want to see Mr. Iguana's puppet get beat up? Like, I mean, am I crazy there being like, he's funny, like, puppet guy. Like, why are you beating up his poor puppet? Like, that's not funny. And
Yeah,
I mean,
it ruins the charm of doing that sort of thing. And by having someone from your roster, which that was the other side to it as well, we don't have someone that has a puppet gimmick. Well, it's like, well, Mr. Iguana, well, but he's not one of our guys. So by having Finn Balor have a puppet, and then having that puppet, from what I've seen, I haven't watched it, but from the pictures and the discussions I've seen, having Finn Balor's Demonito beat up the iguana and stuff like that, it's like, what kind of message are you sending? Honestly.
It's all just a joke too. It's just about money because they had that moment, and literally within hours, up on like the WWE shop zone, whatever, they were selling $100 replicas of the Demonito puppet, and it's like, oh, okay, I get it. Like
I'm
this
gonna
was
sell that gimmick.
Yeah, this is just an excuse for you to sell, like,
Oh wait,
toy,
hang on.
basically.
I'm
overpriced
sorry.
tchotchkes.
I'm doing
Yeah.
this wrong. We gotta sell that gimmick. It's best for business. And it's like, dude, shut. God.
And to go along though,
It's-
with the Lucha Libre part, and why I don't think the TNA thing is going to really work out, is they're making all this noise about how they were going to sign up all this CMLL talent and blah de blah blah, and then when they realized it was going to actually cost money, they backed way off on that real quick.
Yeah.
Well, I think that they had ideas to do that, but one, the TKO, the whole thing of that, the reason why they're really doing a full court press, they want AEW, and Meltzer said this, like they want this contract that AEW has to be the last contract, that they basically are boxed out of having any future television contracts, so that the company will die. Because what they want the monopoly for what? One sole reason, so they can do what TKO has done with UFC, and that, we're paying, people like Roman Reigns like $5 million a year. I think maybe 150,000 is more reasonable, and like they can just bring the pay for everyone down. So it's like, if you, for many different reasons, I oppose the WWE. Like, and it's too many to list. You can include them. You can start with the moral ones, but beyond that, it's like, why, if you care about pro wrestling as an art form, which I do, like, you should not like WWE because they mock it and they try and destroy it every chance they have. But beyond that, just from if you care about the wrestlers, and I get to a certain extent, it's like,
It's
they're
a
not
business.
your friends.
Yeah.
They're not your family. So it's like, to some extent, it's like, well, I don't have to put food on their table, and this, like, I'm not obligated to, make sure they have the best contracts or whatever. But it's also like, you're a human being, right? And if you care about the sport, you should be like, well, I want these guys to get paid, and I want it to attract talent.
Yeah, like
Talent.
I think there's a difference between realizing, like, as a fan, like, well, no, not everyone should make millions upon millions of dollars. That would be stupid and doesn't make financial sense. But it's also like, oh, well, maybe you should, like, pay, say, Roosh $250,000 a year because that's what he's worth, versus wanting to lowball him for $75,000 a year. Like, there's a difference.
Or like, hey, like, maybe you got offered like a salary in like the mid six figures, but I think what would be really great. Let's start you off at 60,000. You're gonna have to wrestle in a warehouse down in Florida for a year, but we'll make sure you get your WrestleMania moment.
And we got
Maybe
some.
we'll bring you up to the main roster.
Yeah,
It's
and if you don't, like, you'll get some herpes off the mats to remember us by.
Actual story.
Yeah,
Apparently.
that it utterly kills me. This idea that that's the bargaining chip is like you have your Mania moment. It's like
But
unless
see,
you're
they can get
winning a
away with
major
that.
title, it doesn't mean anything.
I don't even give a
But
shit about that. Like,
that works.
but I know. I mean,
That
that's
has
why.
worked with some people.
But that's because they're marks. Like for me, like I know
Yeah,
this is an
because
adult
you had a
speaking.
monopoly for 20 years.
But this
So
is
there's a whole generation of people who like grew up when they were children watching this, thinking this is the only wrestling in the world, and it's like, no,
yeah, but it's
no, not even remotely.
But what I hate about it though is, if I was a wrestler, I wouldn't give a shit about a Mania moment. It would be about, well, no, like yeah, it'd be cool to get pushed and win the world title, but you know what's cooler is cashing paychecks.
Do I want to do this as my? Would I want to do it as my job? Okay, sure, but I want to be paid well enough that it would be worth. Because you get later on in your life, you can't do that anymore, and you need to be able to be paid enough to take care of it, especially in WWE, where you're on the hook for all of your own stuff, for your travel and your lodging and all that sort of stuff. So. No, this. Hey, we'll give you 75,000 and put you in NXT. No, bump that. That's. And you're gonna have me on your TV program at that? No.
And the thing with TNA, since we can go into that, but with more backstory, but like, so they're gonna try and compete, and they think they could get them to number 2, but they just had a show that like had some interest, and they fumbled the ball. And the general consensus was, well, what do you expect? It's TNA. And like,
Yeah.
How do you like? Let's talk about this just from a standard business thing and why I think it's stupid. How do you like overcoming that kind of stigma attached to a company is really difficult. Like, and not like say like Microsoft when they're having a bad stretch stigma. Like this is decades of incompetence stigma. This is like EA games stigma or Ubisoft stigma.
To be specific about what you're saying, like they did a show, their big show, which by the way, like, and people have noted this, really it's Fed fans. These people aren't TNA fans. It's Fed fans who are like, oh, look at their attendance. And it's like their attendance was the best it's been in a long time because you put a bunch of WWE stars in this, so you got some Fed heads to probably buy tickets, but it still was like nowhere near what pretty much all of like the AEW attended pay-per-views have been the last like 2-3 years. Like it's not even, and not even including like a Wembley or some big show. I mean, like your standard AEW pay-per-view got more people to like come watch the show, but beyond that, people were pissed off because it was a show that was held in New York, and at the main event was I think Joe Hendry versus Trick Williams, who was like the champion, obviously NXT star, and Mike Santana, who's from the New York area, and instead of like Mike Santana getting the win, winning the title in his like hometown, they had like some shit finish where Trick Williams like stole it and then everything. And then you had the president of TNA like, proudly giving him the title, like, yeah. And it's like this is kind of like an invasion angle of sorts, right? And yet you literally are cucking out all of your stars, including the guy who would be like a big like babyface champion for you, winning the title. Talk about moments, winning the title in his hometown, and you cucked him out like hard.
And they just had him beat
to the point
Moose
where now it's
too.
like, why should I care? Why should I care about Mike Santana? And it's just one of the situations before where it's like if you have him win like now, it's like, well, I don't care anymore. Like you lost the moment.
Yeah. The other thing I heard about that match was what they had is supposed to be a triple threat match, and they pitched Trick Williams to the outside, and Hendry and Santana had a match until Williams came in and stole the pin at the end.
It wasn't even.
Trick Williams, by the way, is
that's just pissing all over the folks that want to see the people in your company, and you're rolling with it.
That's also kind of an inside joke too, because Trick Williams, they want him to be a big star, and he has charisma and he can talk, but he's absolute shit in the ring, and it's been like 2-3 years now, and it just hasn't gotten better. But that's the joke, because they want him to be a star, so their way of keeping him like a star is to basically have him do what? Like he gets put over all the TNA talent. Like he beats them.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're trying to do the hierarchy, like people in TNA, it's like you should see where this is going. Like the guy
Yeah.
who's absolute shit, they still view him as bigger than you and always will. Like you got little bro to the nth degree.
Yep.
But the whole backstory about this,
It wasn't even that well attended, by the way. It was only 7,000 people, and that Emergence show they just didn't even do 2,000 in an arena that AEW a couple of months ago did 3,000 in.
For like just a TV show.
Yeah.
Well, some information came to light. Like the WWE and TNA have been working with for a while, and people were like, some people have theorized like, oh, like they actually secretly own TNA. I don't think it's that. I think it's actually sadder than that. They don't. But
no, because that guy got fired. Remember, because he was like, no, we're not jobbing Joe Hendry to a WWE talent in front of European fans.
Was that Scott Tamora? Like, he's been gone a while.
No, there was some VP or something in there where they wanted him to job to they want Joe Hendry to job to some WWE star, and is like, I don't know if it was in his hometown or something, and their guy's like, no, our world champion's not doing that, so they had him fired. So it's kind of like I don't think they're shadow booking it so much as though whatever they want's gonna go.
Well, Meltzer and the Observer this past week basically revealed that WWE has an option, or they've been given an option for a certain length of time to buy TNA. It doesn't sound like they have, but what has basically been going on, and this has like been reported, so it's like if this does happen, then it's like it's so transparent, and everyone's who actually knows anything is gonna, people who are in the know, which at this point should be everyone, if you pay attention, like what's going on. But remember, the WWE lost and had to pay like $20 million to MLW, like a nothing promotion. They lost because MLW had a TV show, and WWE, because they are so insane, screwed around with the TV show. MLW was able to point out and make the argument, look, monopoly, and they won. Like WWE had to pay them $20 million. So they trying
MLW,
to get of course trying to get a monopoly.
It's MLW. They're nothing.
It doesn't matter. Like the WWE is pathologically almost insane at this point that they can be the only wrestling that exists in the universe.
That's why they screwed up
to the point where they lost $20 million. But
they screwed England over completely, because Progress was getting a little too popular and like drawing a couple thousand people to shows, and can't have that because people are having fun. So they had to come in, and now the indie scene's pretty much dead in that country. And and WWE pulled ship.
And they're not doing it now, and maybe they won't because TKO, maybe want to tighten the purse strings, but they still internally have. You've heard rumors, and I believe it. They still have. Triple H for sure still wants to do like NXT Europe. They still want to do that. They still want to go in Japan. It's just they are now kind of caught in the boondoggle of AAA and trying to compete against CMLL, who is the bigger threat, as we discussed. But go back to TNA real quick. Like WWE has the option to buy them, but they can't really buy them, because if they do, what is that? It's a monopoly. It's more proof of a monopoly.
Yeah.
So the rumor is that they're going to try to get a third party, and I think the name was like Lawrence Furtado, who used to.
It was one of the UFC owners back in the day.
Yeah, he used to be one of the UFC owners. They're trying to recruit him to basically, just on paper, be the owner, so they can get around, they can circumvent the whole monopoly argument in court if it comes to that. But they're doing it because they want to basically control even more than they are now TNA.
Yeah.
And make it the number 2 promotion. And the idea is like they're trying to get them a TV deal, maybe on the CW.
They said A&E too.
And get what Meltzer, I think, pointed that out, where it's like WWE already has an A&E TV show, which gets like 100,000 viewers maybe. So it's like that's not really going to do well. But they want to put it against Dynamite, and people who because they think that it's going to, oh, maybe we can take a chunk out of Dynamite, and it's like, I don't know if unless you decide to load up somehow TNA with, at this point, maybe ex AEW star, ex WWE stars like Killer Cross or whatever. Like, I don't even think, but I don't think that's gonna make a dent too, because I don't think there's a big crossover.
No one's gonna fucking watch a show for Killer Cross. But that's the other problem. None of their fans only give a shit about the old ass motherfuckers on the top. Like, you can't even like filter down your mid carders because your fans don't care.
Look, you made the point. You talked earlier about the Wednesday night wars. It's like you had a much stronger NXT, and stronger than TNA as it is now, but stronger than NXT as it is now. You had a much stronger version of NXT going up against AEW Dynamite back in the day,
with a much more positive brand recognition too.
Beat the shit out of it, and they did it at a point where I would say Dynamite isn't near as good as it is now, because AEW isn't as good. It wasn't as good then, and it was good, but I mean, it wasn't as good as it is now in terms.
And they didn't have the talent either. Yeah, like, I mean, most of that NXT talent is on their show now. They kind of got everyone in that thing.
But you're gonna say like modern day TNA, even if you try to load it with whoever you could perceive as like an NXT star or a WWE cast off, like load it up. Like, you think that they're going to make a dent? I don't think so. The one thing I saw float around today, which I don't even think this would make a dent, but I think that the WWE absolutely would do this. And I don't think that it would make a dent in terms of ratings. I do think it would cause a lot of annoyance by like the WWE paid influencers and podcasters and everything. Is that apparently Chris Jericho's contract is running out by the end of this year. So I heard it speculated, the WWE will sign Chris Jericho, and if they can get someone, meaning someone else, buys TNA, then what they'll do to counter program AEW is they'll get TNA a contract, put it up against Dynamite, and then have the main star of TNA be Chris Jericho. What? And it's like, okay. I don't think that it's like, one, let's say you do that. I don't think you're really reading the audience, because the people, I like Chris Jericho. I don't have any animosity towards him at all. Like, I wish he would stay with AEW, but it's like, you don't know, maybe you don't pay attention to the AEW fan base. But if Chris Jericho left AEW tomorrow, there would be a lot of rejoicing. So I don't think it's like, people are going to abandon AEW and now go watch.
Well, and the thing is,
there'd be a lot of people not caring.
I don't think that you're going to see this. When I say it's what the bigger thing will be, it'll be annoying, because you're going to see, they'll
never mention the
Raj Giri's, the busted open radio talk about how like, look, this is so big, like, and it's like, it's not. I love Chris Jericho. You'll never hear
those allegations again. By the way, you'll never hear word one about any of that again.
No. But I love Chris Jericho, but it's like Chris Jericho in his like 50s. It's like, I wish he would stay with AEW, but I'm not gonna be like, let me go see what Chris Jericho's doing on TNA.
He's done everything. Like, it's not like when he went to New Japan for the first time and he had like, or when he started in AEW and he had like, what's the word I want? Like, he had stories to tell and things to do and stuff. And I'm not as down on him as other people are in AEW, but like his
me neither.
Where he's been of value to AEW though is getting young guys over and working with younger talent. Like, as far as like headlining a promotion, like, who would you even like? Like, do you really want to see like Moose versus Chris Jericho or anything like that? Like, he's like, and it's nothing against him. It's just he's done everything. Like it's like, what stories does he have to tell?
There's one thing that I would want Jericho to do in AEW before he goes, and that's pay off the Big Bill Brian Keith storyline. That's it.
Mhm.
And if he does that and he's like, okay, it's been a good run and I'm done now, then you know what? Hey, good
It
job.
would be
Thank you for
it,
everything and have fun.
it would be funny if he
Like
re-signed with AEW though, and then all that just goes
it
straight out.
it
He
would.
could.
And if he re-signed as an agent and part of the creative, then that honestly, I think that would be
I would think it depends upon what he wants because, he has done everything. So does he need it? No. But in his head, he may be like, oh, I want one last Mania match. Even though he's main evented a Mania, he may
yeah.
want like, oh, I want that, WWE Hall of Fame. Like, I maybe just one more run in the WWE. Like
It,
he may want that.
it could
Does he
just be
need it?
money
No.
too.
But he
Yeah.
may be like, oh, I kind of want it. So he
He
could do
may
it for
also
that reason.
not care at all.
It could
He
just
may not
be
be like,
care.
whatever.
It could just
he
be
could
straight
have come
up.
to peace where it's like, I did that. Like I'm good. I'm good.
It could
I
also
don't know.
just be
We'll
like
see.
it could also just be like because with him especially, if he went back to WWE, I think there's also like the business aspect of, well, if I signed like a 2-year deal, like just the merch money would like probably make my retirement and twilight years a little easier to get through and be more comfortable. Like I think for him there would be a large amount of it would be on the X's and O's like financial considerations, which I think is perfectly valid. We've talked about how there are advantages to going to WWE, and for someone like him, like there would be a lot of passive income just from like running through all your Jericho shirts and stuff, especially if you get them to like do old stuff. Like if you get your old Raw as Jericho and like do the nostalgia shirts, like I think he would make a lot of money at it. But like I don't, as far as like being an impact against anyone, like I just don't see it. And
If
I think he would be more impactful for like a 100% new brand than it would be for TNA. Something that didn't have the stink on it, putting Jericho at the top of that again, like I think he would be more impactful than in TNA.
if he wanted to go back, and have his moments, Hall of Fame, whatever. Uh, Perhaps like if he really wanted to screw with them, he could be like, you know what, guys, I'm gonna retire, but I'll sign a 1-year contract, and then like he signs a 1-year contract, like it's I don't know, like a Rumble entry, like a Mania match, Hall of Fame ceremony, whatever, like and gets like the merch, they crank out some toys, some T-shirts, and at the end of the match, like end of the year, sorry, like he lets the contract lapse, and then he just pops right back to AEW, like, but I mean, so the one thing again, it would be annoying because podcasters act like a big deal, but someone actually brought up this point, which I thought is like that's actually kind of true, is that it would also remove from the podcast universe, the marketplace, one more friendly AEW voice, because Jericho obviously is not. He doesn't just spend his podcast trashing AEW because he works there, and that's most shows just trash AEW and fluff the WWE for no good reason. But I don't know. I don't know what will happen. But I just think that, and Rob Viper did have a good thread about this. Is that if this is basically the end of TNA?
Yeah, it is.
Like
yeah.
TNA will never be the same after this because they survived for like 20 plus years. Like everyone wrote them off like 6 months into it. They somehow have survived over 2 decades. But this will be the end of it because WWE has them so completely in control. They're either going to buy them or they're going to have a puppet buy them.
And it won't be.
Or whoever does buy them is going to effectively be at a minimum ultra friendly with the WWE. So WWE is going to call the shots.
Yeah, and it won't.
Henceforth.
It'll just be.
So
It'll just be.
There's no more autonomy.
Call back to the puppet gimmick a little bit ago.
It'll just be WWE
There-
light
there's-
too. Like it'll go back to being that again versus
it-
having its own creative voice.
No, it's going to be completely like effectively under the control of WWE, and it's going to be even worse because if you're someone who it's going to be basically the dumping ground for people who the WWE has decided, oh, we don't want to pay you like the contract to put you on the main roster anymore. But we have this TNA, so you can basically like a retirement home, basically. So your Killer Crosses, your Dolph Zigglers, excuse me, once they decide like they no longer want to play around with like, LA Knight, it's like, go back to
That
TNA or
that
whomever. Like
that killer
Otis, hit the bricks. You could be TNA champion.
that killer cross like shooty shoot angle is so stupid because they're wasting it.
I personally still think it's the work. I just think the problem is like no one actually gives a shit about
No,
Killer
that's the
Cross.
problem. Like
So
you,
this whole thing about like, oh, we want Killer Cross, and it's like, I don't think it's working because they were like, oh, they had this whole thing where it's like people want Killer Cross, and then they had the show and like no one at the arena like was chanting his name, like they wanted him. I think they realized like, yeah, no one gives a shit about Killer Cross. He has no buy-in.
no, because
He's
because
not Bryan
he sucks.
Danielson. He sucks.
Because the thing
He's
is
terrible.
Because the thing is, he has the
He has
problem
never
of
been.
he has the problem of they did that. Well, this is the second like shooty shoot thing they've tried to like work shoot thing they've tried with him, and the problem is they kind of got him over briefly with the original work shooty shoot thing, but then he has to wrestle and he's terrible, and he instantly loses his heat when he has to wrestle.
Yeah, it's the remark like, and then the bell rings. It's like, who are people like? They're great until the bell rings, and then it's just like it all falls apart.
And he's just like, and
I don't think he's. Listen, I don't think he's good with this. But Jey Uso is It is an example of sorts because it's like he has a lot of aura,
he has more going for him
people have
than
hype.
like I hate Jey Uso, but he has more going for him than Cross does. Because like to
He
me,
does.
like I don't get why people think Cross is a star. Because when I see Cross, I'm just like, oh, so you're just like generic tatted up white guy number 52. Okay.
He's been in multiple promotions and has been bad in all of them.
Yep.
I don't get it either. I look at it and I'm like I'm not gonna compare myself to it, but I look at it and I know full well I had better finishes than he did. His elbow to the back of the head is a finish. It's like, I know what you're going for, but dude, that just looks boring as hell.
And I remember,
and what was the one he did where it started as an F5 and it was supposed to turn into something else, and even when he debuted it, he damn near screwed it up.
About that.
We
talked about it. It was like
he almost killed Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, well, you're doing it a guy that's way too big to do that because
he's not strong.
Way too heavy. But,
like that's the other reason.
But, I mean, like, his move was like, let's do like all this elaborate like stuff, like cinema and twirl him around and whatever. It's like you're doing like way too much. I mean, it doesn't make sense. You're trying. I mean, there's certain things in wrestling, obviously certain moves that it's like this move like is kind of like if you're trying to like suspend disbelief, like this is ass. Like
that move
shouldn't hurt. It shouldn't hurt. But it's also like, some things are done just because so it's like, oh, in theory it hurts because there's a lot of flair that goes along with it. But this is needless movement.
It's
even
like,
I know this.
Like, because it's like
pick a guy up, twirl him around like my head, flip it this way like I'm doing like a nunchuck routine, and then drop him down.
Well, even the setup, even the setup to like get him up was like forever. Because I was like, if you just stood up straight, like you would break the hold, because that's how. And the other thing is he shouldn't have been doing it because, and this is a bias I have, and this is no offense to anyone listening, but like when you're a wrestler and like your entire offense like his is like strikes and like awkward shit like that, that tells me you're not very strong. So you shouldn't be having him try to do like a power move like that. Yeah.
And if you're going to do a strike, you damn well better come up with a strike that's interesting to watch. Like, I am of the opinion... Here, for example, I'm going to pick on somebody who by all rights should be absolutely up my alley. I'm going to pick on Mike Bailey for a second. Mike Bailey's finish with the time adventure with that double rotation heel kick, I look at that and I'm like, I know what you're doing. I know why you picked it. But there's just a little too much in it. Don't use that. Don't do that. And that should be right up my alley. I studied one of the disciplines I studied. It's the same one that Bailey did or does. And, throwing kicks was a big part of my... It's like, no, that's too much. But that is a better option than now I'm going to elbow you in the back of the head. Because it's just in the mindset of wrestling, what you have been telling everybody for years is that is a transitional spot. That's not a knockout blow. That's just a transitional thing. And you finish with that, and it lets all the air out of the balloon.
Yeah, and it's also, remember like when Aleister Black first debuted, and I was kind of saying like, I actually think his like head kick thing is kind of a dumb spot to some degree, because like if you could literally KO someone with a big leg kick like that, wouldn't you just be going for it all match? Just like with the hit to the back of the head, wouldn't you just be trying to hit them in the back of the head the whole time?
I'm willing to give the Black Mass, or whatever it was, whatever he calls it, some grace, because there's a certain amount of distance that you have to gauge in order to be able to land one of those properly. And if the other person's in motion and you're trying to land it the way that he lands it, that's a dicey proposition.
Like,
you're probably going to hit him with your calf.
I know it's not like analogous, but I think this is where MMA's hurt wrestling a lot, because it's like if you watch enough MMA, it's like, oh yeah, if like your specialty is like the arm bar, you don't like, you're always kind of like trying to jockey to get that arm bar on them, or get that guillotine choke, or you're always looking to finish. You're not like lollygagging around and being like, lol, I'm going to suddenly kick you and knock you out, like, unless that's there.
Wasn't that Crow Cop's thing? He had a really amazingly fast front leg kick?
Yeah.
That he would always be looking for the opening for it. But it's not like he was throwing it all the time.
And then Gabriel Gonzaga just I think it was Crow Cop's second UFC fight after all that big deal, like Gonzaga just head kicked him into oblivion on like, and
I don't know.
And they were so hyped, they put that on free TV, and I came home like for the last round, and it's just Crow Cop. He got knocked out so bad, I think he broke his ankle like rolling over his foot.
God. I just knew that was a thing. Wrestling psychology is in a weird place, because with MMA out there, there's a certain amount of, like, the idea of the suspension of disbelief is a little different than it used to be. And having a move that is both effective and cool to watch is trickier now. And so, yes, an elbow to the back of somebody's head is a dangerous thing to do in a real situation. But it's not cool or fun to watch. And Cross's problem is that's kind of seems to be how most of his offense is built. It's stuff that, would be effective in a shoot throwdown with somebody, but it's not very visually interesting.
And he doesn't do it well on top of that.
Yeah. And so, I mix stuff in with mine, but for example, I'd grab somebody by the head, I'd do 3 Muay Thai knee lifts, and then the third one would stand him straight up. I'd lean back into the ropes and come back with a clothesline. Why? Because part of that is shoot stuff that I knew how to do well, and then the last part of it was wrestling stuff to make it look a little more fun to watch.
Like Mike Bailey makes his shit look good, but he legit is like trained in that stuff, so he kind of knows how to make it look good. It's like when it's like how Tom Lawler is one of the few people that can make like worked MMA look good because he did legit MMA.
It still does, I think.
Yeah. But and it is a fun side note, but someone did get finished at one of the recent UFCs with a power bomb.
I remember that, he was, I can't remember what his name was.
Rampage?
He was the dude that would want to do the Kamehameha in the octagon after he won.
Oh, shit. I know who you're talking about.
And kind of, I can't remember if he had a dreads look or if he just had really curly hair. Something like that. And I think Matt Hughes powerbombed him.
Oh, was it
into oblivion?
Was it Frank Trigg?
No.
He did that. I know he did the Oklahoma Stampede on Frank Trigg. Matt Hughes was a freak though.
But the point remains, it's just it's not a good style.
No.
And so
It's not
if
something.
it's a shoot, it's bad because you don't work the boys. You don't do that. And if it's an angle, it's bad. If it's a shoot, it's also bad.
It's also a dumb move in a shoot sense though, because you're throwing a strike at the hardest part of the body, so you might break the shit out of your elbow too if you do that.
Nah, the way he's doing it is he's hitting just below the neck across the back.
Oh.
He's not going to get hurt doing that. The way they shoot it, though, is they shoot it from straight on the person taking it. So it covers that, and that's good camera work. But again, it just doesn't look good.
No.
So
I just don't. I don't think the TNA thing's gonna work. It's not a strong enough brand. They don't have enough
how funny is it?
Fan base left. I don't think.
I was going to say, how funny is it that TNA survived for what, like
23
22 years? Yeah, 23 years. TNA survived. And the only thing that could kill it is WWE wrapping their hands around its throat, like specifically to kill it with its own consent.
Well, the consent thing is the key part, but
yeah,
them getting killed by WWE, it's like, well, that's nothing new. Like WWE has killed many far better promotions,
but they haven't up until this point. TNA had to be complicit in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It is a measured suicide of sorts. There's one last thing I wanted to mention before we can talk about Spinal Tap, like an hour after. But this TNA talk dominated like Friday when the Observer came out, because that was obviously a very salacious part, the Observer. But there was another thing that came out, which to me, like, it's more notable, more newsworthy, and to me, like, this is the real heart of why the WWE is desperate to throw anything against AEW and take them down and get no further contracts to them. Not just because they obviously want to, but Meltzer has talked about how, like, well, they know if AEW is still profitable, that the next time the contract comes along, like he's probably going to get another contract. It's probably going to be even better. And according to Meltzer's quote, was like, they know they'll never get rid of him. They'll never be rid of him. And it's like, maybe. But this was something that Meltzer dropped. And in fairness, Sean Ross Sapp was like, well, questioning that. It's like, where is that information coming from? And it's like, Sean Ross Sapp, I'm sorry, but this is actually very plausible. What Meltzer wrote is that based on our figures based on Netflix reported viewer trends from a variety of places, that Raw on Netflix is getting, I'll round up, 2.6 million worldwide views for Raw. About 3.5 worldwide viewers. I'm not really quite sure how that jumps, but he's doing it over a 7-day period.
Yeah, the 3.5 might be like past the set. It's plausible that they're. I don't remember how the number breakdown, but it's plausible. It just, you'd have to figure out the.
It must be like potentially be like repeat, because there's sometimes I will watch. I'll start watching, like, for example, like Dynamite or Collision, and maybe make it halfway through, and because I'm watching it, like, at 1 a.m, I'll pass out. So it's like, oh, now I got to start all over again. So, I could see that. But point is, like, he's 2.6 worldwide views, 1.46 viewers in the U.S. over a 7-day period, and 920,000 live viewers the same day.
Is that you? Was that U.S. or was that?
No. Oh, well, it just says live the same day, so that could be worldwide. But 920 viewers live on Netflix. That's based on, like, trends. And again, Sean Ross Sapp is like, well, he's questioning the figures, but it's like,
Makes sense
2.6
to me.
million 2.6 million worldwide viewers to be like only 920,000 are watching live day of, versus like 2.6 over the course of like a week, a 7-day period. It's like that's entirely plausible. So
Yeah,
I'm not sure
because
where Sean Rassaff is like, oh,
it's not an urgent.
I take issue with that.
Streaming takes the urgency away. Like so,
Yeah,
like like there's no rush to watch it when it like. And I think you can tell, but you can tell online though, like with Discourse, you can tell that WWE being on Netflix has cost them something. Like I don't necessarily think it's going to cost
they're
them money, but you can
and
tell.
and their viewers always trended older. Uh, Younger people like have cut the cord.
Mhm.
Older people still watch cable, so it's very, very likely that they, before they moved, they were getting like what 1.6, 1.7, sometimes less,
1.8
1.5.
sometimes. I think
Yeah, on
I think
Raw.
yeah, I think they could creep into 2 sometimes, but like I think
Well, it's like
1.6.
special, like The Rock is here.
Yeah, I think 1.6 to 1.8 it was like a fair spread for them on USA.
On USA on cable, and it's entirely plausible to say that when they moved from cable to streaming, that 500,000 or more people just said peace out, and then because that was the thing that happened. People noted this, that going back 20 plus years ago, but when WCW closed, WWE didn't like all of a sudden get like their ratings just jumped
I
from
don't
like a
think they
certain
got
level to like now we
anything.
have like 2-3 more million. No, because when most of those people, when they were WCW fans, when WCW closed, they were like peace out, and they left, and they never came back.
Yeah. They were
Uh,
going to be. What happened at that time is that people who were willing to watch both already did. And people who didn't want to watch WWE didn't start watching WWE.
yeah,
Well, think about how many people like in
but
the territory days watched and just did not come into the 90s when their promotions closed.
Yeah.
oh, that's a whole other argument that we won't go into. But it's like we started like the '80s, that there was like the attendance for people who went to wrestling shows by 1980. It was like probably like a couple million or more like per year. And by 1990, when basically all the territories closed and it was just WCW and WWE, WWF at the time, it was probably like half that at most. Like people just left and they just stopped because they didn't want. The WWE is the biggest promotion of all time in many ways, but it's also like people don't want it. But
Well, it's divisive too.
this is
Like it's not we've talked about that before, but like WWE does not WWE is to not to everyone's palate. And if it's not to your palate, you either have to adapt or like you're someone like me that like just couldn't take it and dropped off until they found indie promotions that they liked better, and then they still tried every now and then it would just bounce off their product. Like that's not. I don't think that's that unique. And that's why I've never understood. Like they always do this and act like those fans are going to come over to them, and they don't. And I know this isn't about that. This is about keeping stagnating workers' wages.
Yeah. But this is why I think really they're actually behind the scenes absolutely fucking panicked about AEW. Meltzer is reporting like based upon trends information, I'm saying 920,000 viewers live for Raw on Mondays. Okay. This is the article that this is the exact paragraph that he wrote in the Observer. If you're going to compare it with AEW Dynamite this week, it would mean Dynamite would need 209,000 viewers on Max to beat the live and same day number, a figure it almost surely beats. For the full week, it's tougher. Based on the usual patterns, last week's AEW show would only do about 840,000 on television, including DVR membership. He goes into like DVR, like number, but
I think
AEW roughly.
AEW's always had a stronger DVR culture, I think, around it than WWE has.
I got small kids. I can never watch anything live, so I perpetually will watch things on DVR. Once they get rid of cable, it's just going to be like after the fact on Max. But even if I was watching it live, like it doesn't matter. Like AEW is getting 700, roughly, maybe a little more sometimes, viewers on cable, and a lot of the Fed friendly accounts and podcasts, whatever, have pushed back on this. But every piece of data that we've gotten from people, and including people like, was it BJ Bethel, I think, on Twitter, who's an actual like reporter. He's gotten information. He's done research on this, and it seems like it's very plausible that at a minimum, that AEW is pulling in at least probably half or more of their cable viewers on Max. And if you go online, and now people who'd be very online would have more of an inclination to watch it on streaming. They're more I guess, tech savvy or that. But all I see online, like on Twitter or whatever, social media, people are just like, "Oh, I watch it on Max. I watch it on Max." Well, like I just see that over and over and over again.
That's why I watch it, because
I had enough, Chad.
I had to maintain like a subscription to some like YouTube TV or something to get it before. So yeah, I watch it on Max.
Yeah, but okay, let's say half. So let's say they're pulling in roughly 700,000 on cable. You get half that. It's probably more, but let's just say half. All right, half of 700, 350,000. Add 700 plus 350,000. Now you're at over 1 million people who are watching Dynamite every week. Collision lower, but it's still like, forget Collision. We're talking about Dynamite versus Raw. Over 1 million for Dynamite, 920,000 on Raw.
And
it's very plausible that Dynamite now is beating Raw in terms of live and same day numbers.
And I would say,
so that's why, my opinion, if that's true, and I think it is true, it's very plausible that it's true, then that's why the WWE is freaking the fuck out, is because their flagship show is getting less viewers, actually. And it may be minuscule, be like, well, they're getting like 10% less. It's like, whatever.
But that's still
bad.
bad.
If they're getting less viewers than Dynamite for the flagship, the show that they tout has been around for 30 years, 30 plus years, that's real bad.
And they don't have wrestling people over them anymore, because like I think if it was Vince, that wouldn't be that freak out as much. But I was gonna say, anecdotally, I think it's plausible, because I see, since they've gone on Max, I see a lot more people talking about them. But I think it's helped. That's the other thing, though. Just as an aside, why I don't necessarily think WWE is gonna pull it off is because like WWID already dead, and like they had Ace Austin and TNA when they signed up. He just signed with AEW, and that's another young new face on their roster. So like,
well, they in the whole discussion, they were like, they behind the scenes said like Ace Austin, he was in talks, and then what happened to it? Like, oh, basically like they couldn't agree on the money terms.
Yeah,
it's like
they want him to make
$75,000
a year.
That's the thing. They could be like, hey, you can debut you on NXT, and if you're someone like Ace Austin, you're probably gonna be like, no.
I've been on.
He's still young. He's in his 20s. Yeah,
like,
he's
dude,
like, I've been doing TNA for like 5+ years.
Yeah,
like
I've been a champion.
I don't need to go to NXT.
I've been a champion on this show right here that you say is good enough, and you want to send me to NXT to learn to look at the hard cam.
But that's why they want to get rid of AEW, because if AEW didn't exist, what other option would he have? Would he maybe try it in Japan? But Japan's like, the economy's still bad there. They're not really like doing well business wise.
So, the end's in the toilet. So,
but it doesn't. Like AEW exists, so Tony Khan can go to Ace Austin and be like, sure, I'll sign you to like a $250,000 a year gig, and immediately you're going to debut against like Ricochet, and we're going to present you like a star.
They're also losing their mind because AEW is, at least to me, primarily operating to be self-sufficient. They're not. Mm-hmm. They're not doing the corporate churn of always having more growth to bring to investors. So they don't have a problem turning around and using, as we've said before, a larger part of their revenue stream to pay their talent. And so what does that mean is you're in this two very different mindsets, and one of them, at least in terms of talking to management and that sort of thing, is going to seem, at least to me, far more attractive.
I also
I ain't
don't
interested
think.
in that.
I also think they don't like the fact that AEW is signing them to more like what a sports league contract would be like. I think that's also a sticking point.
Well, and
Makes
they
sense
cover
'cause-
lodging and travel too.
Yeah, because you've mentioned this before many times, Brad, but Tony Khan, like the Khan's world is in professional sports. You know, they own a actual major league soccer team, and they own an
Well,
NFL franchise.
we need to call it right because I don't want any Brits yelling at us. They own an EPL team, not a
Well,
major
okay,
league. Yeah.
major league. I meant like
Well,
professional, like
in
soccer.
English,
They own a
Yeah.
professional soccer team.
and they own an English
Yes,
soccer team. I know there's before anyone yells. I know relegation exists. Blah blah blah. They're in the EPL. Go fuck yourself.
Hang on,
Yeah.
let me do this thing. I got it.
The
We're
point is their
talking about...
background is in real sports. So yeah, he's treating this as I'm going to sign you to like a real sports contract where I'm going to pay you more than the competition. I'm going to pay you what I think you're worth, and it's actually going to be a very fair like contract. And I'm going to do things that should be expected, meaning like I'm going to pay for your travel. We have catering.
Here. Your European footy joke incoming. There.
Okay.
There, I've done my
What was it
stupid
gonna-
joke for it.
I actually I don't want to get into this can of worms, but I had this personal theory that I generally think that the wrestling companies that have the opportunity to exist for a long time, continue to exist, are the ones that actually the owners have skin in the game. And in this case, you have Tony Khan. It's obviously this is a labor of love. He's a lifelong wrestling fan.
Yeah.
He's a businessman, of course, but you can't be a guy who as a teenager was going to ECW shows, and then now, 25 years later, he's just going to be like, yeah, whatever, I'm over this wrestling thing. It's like, this guy's a hardcore fan. Like, that's why this guy, it's his baby. Like, I can see AEW continuing with him, at least as owner, if not Booker.
A guy came out.
If it's allowed to, another 2-3 decades. Someone like a company like CMLL owns buildings, owns arenas, so they have an interest in keeping the promotion going and that indefinitely.
Well, the beauty of CMLL.
They own, yeah.
The beauty of CMLL is they make all their money on boxing. Like CMLL is just like a side passion project for them. So that's where WWE
What
is in
AEW
trouble.
is for TK?
Well, I was gonna say too with TK, like it just came out this week that like, it was Buff Bagwell that helped. So Scotty Riggs was real depressed and in a bad spot in his life, and Buff Bagwell got him in touch with Tony Khan, and Tony Khan just gave him a job because he's like, okay, like I'm sorry you're going
Buff
through a
got
lot.
him But got him in touch with DDP, and DDP made the connection. Because DDP needs another notch on the great guy in the wrestling world board.
No, DDP in many ways is like a wrestling saint in that regard.
Mhm.
But just speaking about TKO, to sing his praises, like it came out after the fact, and it wasn't him; it was her. But Rita Chatterton, the woman who alleges that in the 80s, that Vince McMahon raped her. Like Tony Khan quietly in the last few years, like he signed her to a contract. She did like nothing. It was basically a contract like, I feel bad that happened to you. Let me pay you like a contract, which was effectively like restitution for something that happened to you
By someone
and
else.
she was like just some interview, and it came out after the fact that she's tying me to a contract, and then she's like, oh, he's like a very nice man. Like it wasn't like he wanted dirt on Vince, whatever like that. He's just like, you know what? I'm gonna pay you a contract. And you never heard about it until after the fact. You would have never known.
Yeah, the dude that founded Little Caesars Pizza, basically buying Rosa Parks' apartment for her.
Oh yeah,
she was like, it's that sort of stuff. Story. Yeah,
just because it's like this is, you know what, you're like an actual American and civil rights hero. Like this is the right thing to do. And you never heard about it until after the fact.
I think
no.
And that's why I have no respect for Triple H, because Vince was a monster, but Vince also did have those like altruistic moments. Because like when Harley Race died, like no one even asked him. He's like, or I think they said like, "Hey, you can't afford to pay for this." Like Vince, like, "What do you need?" Like, "I'll fly your family out. Like, I'll pay for it all." And they're like all the guys he sent to rehab and stuff. But like Triple H doesn't do any of that stuff. He just wants people to sniff his farts and doesn't earn any of it. That's why I hate his guts.
That's one of the things that's like people have actually shown like the last couple weeks. There's actually, I guess there's footage of this, and you always hear about people like Cena doing a lot of Make-A-Wish stuff, and he has probably more than any other wrestler. But people have kind of
more than like the next 3 Make-A-Wish people put together.
Yeah, but like back in the day, like Hogan did a lot of that stuff, and like was not just like I'm going through the motions. Like he seems genuine, like he seemed like he was into it. And it's like that's sometimes you run into this where it's like with Vince or Hogan, it's like these are people who are very morally compromised and terrible people in their personal life, and yet they have these moments where it's like, how do you reconcile this? Because it's like you actually are capable of altruistic moments or genuinely like good human.
Yeah.
I've always had
towards other people. So how come you can't? How come you can't maintain it?
I have a
how come
theory.
It's like this sliver and not the whole pie?
I've always had a running.
The whole pie is dark and terrible.
I've always had a running theory for Vince that it kind of fell apart in the later years when he started getting a little weird, but he did for a long time seem to genuinely have like an affection for people that worked for him. And he seemed to take like
certain ones, yeah.
I bet there's shit he's done we don't even know. Like, hey, I'm having trouble keeping my apartment. Like, oh, here's a check. Like, I think he did a lot of stuff like that, especially for like the old timey guys. Because I think he generally because people would say like he tells you it's a family, and I think Vince is like a very fucked up person. But I think he probably did take care of a lot of guys on the back end, just because I do think like he did have an affection for a while for them, as much as of a monster of a human being as he is.
Yeah.
But I think
the
people are complicated.
The weird crossover. Yeah.
That's what I say. People are complicated.
Yeah.
Which is a very loaded statement, but it is what it is.
People are just weird. And sometimes I think for Vince too, it could just be like he knew like some of those guys got taken advantage of, and he did it too, and he's just like that was his way of kind of like easing his whatever small shred of a conscience that he hadn't killed yet off. But let's get to Spinal Tap.
Yeah, let's do Spinal Tap.
So this came out in 1984. It's kind of a pioneer film in its genre, because it's kind of like the first mockumentary. It's directed by Rob Reiner. It has Harry Shearer from The Simpsons, Christopher Guest, Fran Drescher makes an appearance in it, which kind of makes me laugh.
There's a cameo that has Billy Crystal and Dana Carvey too. Did you catch them?
I did not.
They were the mime waiters.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, those were the mime waiters. I knew whenever the one was talking, I was like, that's Billy Crystal. Like, that is 100% Billy Crystal. And then I went to go look, and it's apparently the other mime waiter was Dana Carvey as cameos. And I was just like, well.
And this is kind of an iconic film, because you'll see a lot of interviews with like legit bands. Like, so what's your Spinal Tap moment? And they always have a story. And like, there's stories about like there's artists that legit don't like the movie or don't think it's funny because they say it's too plausible.
That was a story I had read. Go ahead, Matt. I'm sorry.
Oh, this might be the story you're going to share, Chad. I don't know if this is true or apocryphal or just someone made up, but someone had said like, oh, Ozzy Osbourne like saw the movie and didn't laugh once. And it's like, well, you didn't laugh. Like, he was like, it's too real. It's like
he had to be. From what I read, he had to be told that it was a mockumentary.
It was a mockumentary. It wasn't real.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, he had to be told that, and it's just like shit.
I think I read like.
Well, he was actually British. Outside of Christopher Guest, he should have been like Michael McKean, Harry Shearer. It's like, what's this bullshit accent?
I think they softened in later years, but I believe Deep Purple didn't like it at first because they thought it was a movie making fun of them.
Hmm.
Like, because there's a lot of bands.
Interview.
Oh, go ahead, Shad.
I was going to say the interview with Ozzy was, in particular, the thing he remarked on is the guys getting lost going to the stage. He said that never happened to me, but that happened to some other guys I know.
Iron Maiden said that happened to them, I think.
And so these things that should be absolutely absurd and were made up to be over the top to put into this mockumentary, which I believe I'm safe in calling it the codifier of mockumentaries, the thing that established what mockumentaries really are. And it was like apparently not over the top enough. And
Well, that is something that I guess because I watched it almost like twice. I watched it and I watched it again. But the subtlety, the thing that I do think is the brilliance of it is that there's obviously some very like absurd, nonsensical parts of it, and there's jokes clearly, or there's play on things, but some of it is not almost like it's played straight. So it's like it isn't as over the top as it could be. So I can see where some people, if you didn't know, you could have been like, "Oh, this is real, right?" And it's you could almost be tricked into thinking like it's real because some of the emotion, it's not so over the top that it's like, okay, clearly it's like from top to bottom nonstop. It's just a joke. There's some portions where it's like it seems like a real reaction.
Yeah.
So it's like, wait, that.
They did ad lib a lot of
I
this
guess-
movie.
Did they? It seems like they
Yeah.
probably at least parts of it.
Because there's some great lines, and they're like, "Well, our drummer, he choked on his own vomit." Like, well, no, it wasn't his vomit. Like, oh, it was somebody's vomit.
Yeah, you can't dust
they
for
cannot-
vomit.
Yeah.
Hey.
They can't actually prove whose vomit it was. Like,
Hey, you know what else cracked me
you know
up?
what? Was that entire scene ad libbed or was that?
Yeah, I
basically-
think
might
so.
have been.
Yeah.
Some of us have started. It's like he died in a gardening accident. The police said, it's actually better that we don't solve it.
You know what else
Just
cracked
leave it alone.
You know what else
Like,
cracked me up is
what?
You know also what cracked me up, and I think I knew it before, but I'd forgot about it. Is the intermittent having cold sores because they're obviously getting herpes from the same groupies with each other? Like, just cracked me up. And like no one ever says anything about it. It's just one of those things you're watching, like, oh, they all have cold sores. Like, ew.
Yeah. One of the things about this, like Matt, you said earlier, it's not just constant jokes. Because let's be honest for a second, there are some movies that can pull that off. But there's going to come a point where you're going to fatigue of it. And I was having a conversation with someone earlier today, and the idea that comedy has to have contrast. If everybody is wacky and goofy, then the wacky and goofy isn't special or unexpected or amusing. So you're right. You've got the steady parts and then you've got the over the top goofy, and apparently the over the top goofy didn't go far enough in some cases, which just cracks me up to no end.
I also laugh
One of
when they're doing the concert and the drummer just explodes, and then they have the new drummer with his name sitting there.
Yeah.
Like, because they just have a drum, because they've had so many drummers die, they just have a spare one on hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is a kind of an over the top thing that's funny. Is that the recurring gag is that their drummers always die in some like horrific way.
Yeah.
And they even there's a part in the movie where they even interview like the current drummer, and it's like, are you nervous? And he's just, he's kind of like solemn. But I did think that was a funny like running gag.
Yeah. It's a good running gag. I can tell the other thing that happens, because we mentioned cameos that come up through this here and there. One of the cameos that just destroys me is towards the end of the movie. Because their gigs keep falling apart in the U.S., they're playing a gig on an Air Force base, and they go and meet Fred Willard, and Fred Willard is being so golly gosh gee shucks earnest, but he's also, I mean, just insulting the living shit out of them at the same time. It absolutely cracked me up because here you have booked a what are they?
They're a heavy
glam
metal
rock
band.
band?
No, they're a heavy metal
Okay.
band.
You've booked this metal band. Here they come, and then you're like, oh, what was it, like the Poughkeepsie Rhythm Trio? If you want good music, that's what you should listen to. And he's saying this right to the band's face, and I'm like, here he is trying to be so earnest and everything, and insulting them repeatedly. It cracks me up.
And
I think that
oh, go ahead, Matt.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say what also helps, I think, with the movie is like they did really, like, the songs are really well written to be, the songs are memorable and they're clever, but they also are so well written that like Big Bottom's a great example where there are some hilarious lines in that, but they also wrote it in such a way that it's a bad song too. Like if it was a legit song, there's enough awkwardness in there, but like the "How can I leave this behind" is just like, it's just so hilarious that you might miss like kind of the implication.
The fact that Big Bottom is everyone in the band except the drummer is playing bass for that song, and the bassist is playing this giant double bass, just adds this whole other goofy layer.
It's actually like a fun song. But when I actually had to Google lyrics, I Googled them right now because like there was one line that I heard it and I was like a dog, when a dog hears something and it just like does the quizzical like head turn. I heard it, I'm like, wait, and I had to look it up, and there's the line that killed me. It was like, it's towards the end. It's like, talk about mud flaps, my gal's got him, and I'm like, what?
The one that kills me too. The one that kills me too is like when she's got big game inside her tights. I have the CD. Like I legitimately have this on like rotation because like I think it and Stonehenge or like stand up as like quality songs even if you haven't seen the movie.
Well, we can get to Stonehenge in a second, but one thing I thought was funny, we was about to say before you had your thought, Brad, was that they are kind of a heavy metal band, like I guess British like heavy metal band, not real dark like Black Sabbath, like heavy, but
yeah.
What was funny to me is that they talked about how like, oh, they've had like previous success and went through like their initial incarnations, and the first was like they were like a 60s rock group,
like a Beatles,
like a Flower Child group,
like a Beatles.
Well, no, before that it was like they were almost like not Beatles-esque, but almost like like the Turtles, so like, like in that type of vein. And then in the 70s they had the big song with like the Flower Power like song. And so it's like these guys are just like chameleons almost, where it's like you just change with the times, and now it's like
they are chasing the trends.
And I think that's
like
funny.
80s like heavy metal.
And they kind of put a hat on it because their first song when they're like in that 60s, that early band, their song is like "Give Us a Bunch of Money" is pretty much the song. Mm-hmm. And they do mention they mentioned early in the movie, which you have to remember is like, they're kind of talking, I don't think it's them talking, but they're talking about how they think the heavy metal thing is a fad. Because they're trying to get them to move on.
Yeah. The thing, I was doing some reading about this too, and one of the things that happens in the course of the movie is that it's supposed to be a subtle little thing that these are not guys who keep up with the times. These are guys who keep constantly chasing the current trend, and they keep getting there a little behind the curve over and over and over again. So they got a hit in the Flower Child era at the end of the Flower Child era, and then they're not wanting to switch off of that, even though they should, because it's moving to something else. And so, I'm not musically aware to know that sort of thing, but I appreciate it.
I have to give a shout out to their Simpsons guest appearance because it's dead on to them, because one of their favorite conversations from them, like of their jabber, is from the Simpsons, where they're like, well, I don't think anyone has benefited more from the fall of communists than us. And the other guy's like, well, maybe the people that live in those countries.
Good night, Springdon. There will be no encore. I also like the fact that they were kind of just like just presented as just idiots. They're just dumb. Like the Rob Reiner, who I forget what his he was the director of the documentary.
Yeah.
I forget. He had an interview with one of the guys with Christopher Guest. I forget the character's name, but he's like showing it like his guitar collection. It's like, no, you can't even look at this one. You can't even look. And then it's like
showing, it still had the tag and it never been played.
Or it's like
the amplifier. And he also showing the amplifier. And it's like, this one goes all the way to 11. And it's like, Rob Reiner's like, well, why don't you just crank it up to 10? And like, really, it's like,
why don't you just make it go to 10 and get rid of 1? No, it's like, why don't you get rid of 1 and just have it go to 10? It's like, but this one goes to 11.
It goes to 11.
And also the conversation when he's talking about the lead singer and him, he's like, well, we're like brothers. And like that whole conversation, like, yeah, we fight all the time, but we're just like brothers that fight a lot. And I love the scene though where Rob Reiner's sitting down with all of them and he's talking about the reviews of their covers. And like the shark sandwich, like, yeah, shark sandwich, just shit
sandwich.
And they're like, are you even allowed to
They can't write that.
Yeah. Like they don't even try to argue the point. They're just like, can you write that?
Yeah.
And I love the cover of Shark Sandwich. I thought the Shark Sandwich cover was hilarious.
Yeah. Since you mentioned her, like I was watching this and all of a sudden, before I even maybe even saw her face, I heard like the voice and I'm like, wait. And it's like, yeah, it's Fran Drescher. Like a very young Fran Drescher. She's probably like maybe like early 20s, early to mid 20s in this film.
I think it's her. It might be her first film credit.
And she has that. Sure. She has the Fran Drescher voice, and it's like
a little subdued.
And she's just like, yeah, it's a little. It's not as like it's not the nanny Fran Drescher, but she was like, there's the whole scene where she's like, was she supposed to be like a PR person, like.
She was like the record label rep.
Okay. Wow, I was way the hell wrong. Her first movie credit is Saturday Night Fever. So, and then she did a bunch of stuff. Then it went to Spinal Tap. And then her career hit its zenith in 1989 when she was in UHF as Pamela Finkelstein.
That's still a fun movie.
Yes.
And her role is mostly just like talking about how like corporations just hate the fucking cover because it's too raunchy.
You know what's funny about that
she just trashes them. It's like, you think that a woman on all fours wearing a dog collar, like
that's
fine.
You know what's ironic about that?
You know what's ironic? Their manager is just so incredulous. It's
and
then like Kmart doesn't want to do the arm
like Sears or something.
Yeah.
You know what's ironic about that cover discussion and what I was thinking when they were doing that is the point of that conversation was supposed to show how they're out of touch. But if it was today, there'd be some asshole on Twitter trying to tell you that that's actually empowering and some other bloody blah crap.
I'm going to tell you a secret.
Yeah.
It was today because Sabrina Carpenter had a single cover that was a lot like that.
Oh God! That's a side conversation that I think she's some creepy AI abomination, and like I don't like looking at pictures
Sabrina
of her.
Carpenter?
Yes, she's creepy.
She first off, Sabrina Carpenter is like yay big, like she's
and she's creepy. She looks like some alien creature.
Someone pointed this out. Like, she's trying to like really push. First off, there's two things about her. One, she's trying to like be the next generation
Lady
Taylor
Gaga,
Swift,
blah blah blah,
and that she's like the next like cultural zeitgeist is coalescing around her. And it's like it's not quite working. I do think she actually has some talent as a musician. if she's corporate driven, then it's like, well, the corporate machine
She's a
behind
Disney
you.
creation. You know why?
There's a couple songs that she has that I like. I've told you. I've said in the show many times. I'm an unabashed pop music fan.
But
So there's some of her stuff that I like. I don't mind.
You know why it doesn't work though? You know why being the next Taylor Swift doesn't work? Because Taylor Swift's still fucking there.
That's true. And Taylor Swift is like the biggest thing. People are like, "Oh, what Taylor Swift?" What? It's like I didn't know this until like really like last year. My daughter's school, and my daughter's now like she's 5, like she's gonna go into kindergarten, like starting like next week. But she went to preschool, and at the preschool, like there's upperclassmen beyond the preschool, and there's like a father-daughter dance, and I went to it. I've went to it twice now. And the first year, it's like a year and a half ago, maybe not even that, I went, and girls like 5 to like 13, anytime a Taylor Swift song came on, every girl, like dozens of girls, just went crazy. It's like, Taylor Swift. It's like you have no idea, beyond just like the overall culture, how much she has captured an entire generation of like young girls who know all of her songs and all of the lyrics. And I'm not hating on that. I'm just saying, like, you have no idea. So people, like, she I think this year became like a billionaire, and it's like, I understand, and it's believable.
I would say
she's a huge star.
And I think that if we were gonna have the conversation, I don't even really like her music, but if you're gonna say, well, who is the next Taylor Swift, I would say it's probably Billie Eilish, because she seems to have something different than everyone else and has like an it factor, and seems to have that kind of penetration with the teeny bop crowd.
I said before though, a lot of Billie Eilish's stuff is actually like written by her brother.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand why it's as mainstream as it is, because I feel it's a little too.
Because
some of her songs are a little avant-garde.
Because there's a
different
dearth
in an era that was very samey.
Because there's a dearth of actual marketable talent in the pop world right now, because they've strangled it with stagnation. So
maybe
I think she fills a void if she's actually different. Whereas I think Sabrina Carpenter, I think Sabrina Carpenter won't last. I don't think she has. And once they realize they're not getting a great return on investment out of her, she's going to disappear. Because I think I think there's a large amount of astroturfing and corporate push for her. They're trying to fake it until they make it with her.
Well, that's the second thing that I was going to say. Like, I think the first one was like, I think she's trying to be like the next Taylor Swift. She's trying to latch on to like a cultural zeitgeist. But the other thing is, like, there's been a whole like discussion online about her. She's very popular with women, but she's clearly, by the way she's dressing and everything, trying to appeal to men. And it's like, well, it hasn't really like penetrated, and it's like, why? And it's like, some people have postulated, it's like, well, she's very like female coded.
She is.
And it's like, what the hell is that?
She's too.
It's because she's an attractive young woman.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, why? It's the same reason why is Taylor Swift more like male or female coded? She's more female coded. It's like Taylor Swift is actually a very attractive woman too, but it's like there's a weird like.
So the thing with Taylor Swift is Taylor Swift
sexuality about it.
Taylor Swift female coded. Taylor Swift is female coded, but like I don't find Taylor Swift attractive, but I'm just like, she's not my type. Like that's what I can say about Taylor Swift. She doesn't do anything, but there's something about Sabrina Carpenter that's off-putting, and I think there's a number of reasons why I don't think men are that drawn to her. Is with her height and look, there's something like off-putting. Like, she's too young looking, so I think that's an automatic turn-off for a lot of guys.
Also, again,
yeah,
like
the height doesn't help.
So,
but she's also, I think there's something, and she's not doing it on purpose. Like, Taylor Swift is female coded, but there's something almost like satirical about the way Sabrina Carpenter does it. Like, it's too.
You're saying it's too over the top.
Yeah, it's too over the top.
It kind of is too obvious. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's trying too hard.
She's trying too hard.
She's trying too hard. It's like, and she's an attractive young woman, but it's like you're trying too hard. It's like it there's a point where trying too hard is like now it becomes almost like gaudy.
Yeah.
It's like I just want to hear you play a dumb pop song. Like I actually think she has a couple good pop songs. So like to trying to lean into like a sexual aspect of it, it's like I don't need this. Like
I
I
don't
don't
I
need
don't
this.
like
But
it when I don't like it when your audience is going to be a lot of younger girls and like I don't like she's very overt with some of the stuff she does. I think it's distasteful largely.
It's
like I said, it edges it to like gaudy. It's just like
so.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Spinal Tap.
yeah.
The thing about the movie that I know you're not supposed to like the character. I know you're not supposed to like the arc, but it's enough that it really turns me off. Is the arc with the lead singer's girlfriend who rolls in
Oh yeah,
and you know thinks
Who takes
thinks
over and
yeah,
she has to fight with Ian, the manager, and Ian like quits.
yeah.
yeah. That like I know. Okay, first of all, I think part of what bugged me is like this is feeling very much too real, you know, for what's supposed to be a comedy.
Well,
And then
that was the point where it's like it that the comedy became less obvious, and it's like this now seems almost just like
I
more
I
dramatic.
think I
Like,
think I think I think that's kind of where it's a bit outdated because when this would have been being made, like Yoko would have been fresh in everyone's
Fresh.
mind, like
Yeah.
like super fresh, like within the last decade. I think like the a lot of the infamy would have been there. So I think it was topical, but like for us now, when you have more distance away from us, like, oh, are you doing the Yoko thing?
Yeah. This is an overall thing with this movie. I understand why there are some people that just love it. There are lots of people who have to travel a lot, and you know why bands love it is because they feel like it's for them. I had a conversation with a guy a couple of weeks ago who he has very it's a job that's specialized enough that in hindsight I'm like, well, of course that exists. But at the time I was like, I never thought about that. He was a tire designer, and so he did a lot of work with NASCAR teams would come and work with him, and so he had to work with drivers specifically and that sort of stuff. And I was like, okay, shoot straight with me. What's the NASCAR movie? Is it Days of Thunder or is it Talladega Nights? And he said, that's an interesting question. The official NASCAR movie is Days of Thunder. Everybody watches Talladega Nights. It's the unofficial movie. And so, because it feels like it's for them. And so I get why people like this and it feels like it's for them. But what I run into with it, and I appreciate some of the jokes and I appreciate the historical context, but for the same reason that I don't really care for Watchmen, is I had read other stuff that was derivative of Watchmen before I did Watchmen, so therefore I didn't get like the emotional gong strike that people got whenever they read Watchmen, if that makes sense. Like it was not the fresh new discovery for me. Am I making sense when I say that?
Yeah, because there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things this movie does that's like hack now. Like, I think things like
Yeah.
subverting expectations. This movie does that, and like that's like a dirty word now because so many people have like done it wrong.
Yeah, it's been overdone.
And I think
Speaking of subverting expectations, Matt, I don't know if it is or not, but is your favorite thing in this movie Stonehenge?
I heard Stonehenge. First off, the whole joke about Stonehenge is like they conceived like this song about Stonehenge, and it's like, you know, this dark, deep song, whatever. and they're supposed to use this prop, which is supposed to be like this big giant prop that comes down.
It was supposed to be
and
18 feet.
They got the measurements wrong. It's supposed to be like 18 feet, but
And
they
they
got
put-
18 inches.
Yeah.
So the prop designer, and it's like this big. Like it's like this
And
is
they
like the
lower
size.
it down from the ceiling.
Yeah, and it's
This
such
tiny
a,
ass thing.
and it goes over, to use a phrase earlier, like a wet fart, and it just completely ruined the song. But I heard the song, and I like listened to the song, like, oh wait, this is a good fucking song. It's like this is actually a good song. Like if this came out in the 80s, and like forget like this movie, just like you heard the song on the radio in the 80s.
Yeah.
It's just like it's just like not even heavy metal, just like this is like a. It'd be like. It's a good song. And I'm like, whoa, this song they did for this joke movie.
And they just had
actually a good song, and it's different than Big Bottom, where it's like this is clearly like a kind of a comedy song. It was like this is actually a good song.
And I mean, they
like,
just
I'd play this.
They just on their YouTube channel, I think like 2 weeks ago, I think it's for the sequel, but it's them doing it with Elton John and Elton John singing it, and it works fine.
I think
it's actually like a legit good song. That I like. Were you even trying to make this comedic, or was just like the joke is that this is actually a really good song?
Well,
the comedy is like the prop that we use for it is like a complete disaster.
I think they understood, and I don't know if other people would have the wherewithal to realize this. I think they had to do catchy songs for this. Like I think the movie works better because like I said, I actually have the CD of it and I do listen to it because the songs are legitimately pretty good, and they're memorable.
Okay, how can I phrase this best? Even though there are some lyrics in the song that you hear and you're kind of like, oh, the bass, the guitar riff for Tonight I'm Gonna Rock You Tonight, I just absolutely love. I love the fact that, that open, because I remember doing it on Guitar Hero 2 and how much fun that opening riff, that dun 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 dun, dun, like I enjoyed that riff so much. Oh, okay. Here's what I was looking for, because with the Stonehenge thing, a year after the demo reel of the film was produced in 1982, Black Sabbath's Born Again tour featured a Stonehenge set that was marked with the wrong measurements on the schematics, but in meters instead of feet, resulting in a 50-foot tall stone instead of 15.
I think what does hurt this movie a little bit, like for seeing it coming into it now, especially like it's kind of like the stuff with Anvil and like the late aughts kind of took some wind out of the sails of this, because it's like a real version of it without the comedy, but like that band that kind of almost gets there but just can't quite get over the hump.
Oh, I'm sorry. The other thing, the TV Tropes trivia is a goldmine for this. I'm still stuck on the Stonehenge thing. Members of Jethro Tull played a prank on their frontman during one of their concerts. They lowered an 18-inch model of Stonehenge from the ceiling mid-song, and the roadies danced around it. The same thing was done at a Nine Inch Nails concert, resulting in laughter from normally stoic frontman Trent Reznor. They managed to pop Trent Reznor with this stupid Spinal Tap joke. Okay, sorry.
I was looking up
there,
one.
Brad. Go ahead.
Well, no, there was. You're making me want to look up. It was something I searched happened in Europe, and they were all laughing about it. Let's see. They were in Greece in 2002. Some of the road crew had a tiny Stonehenge monument, which they lowered down to the stage in the middle of their last song. They all started cracking up. But since it wasn't like a big movie in Europe, they had to explain to the audience why they were laughing.
Oh.
There was someone from Slayer. It was some band, but they said like one of the guys like foot went through the stage and he couldn't get himself loose, and they had to like get the crew to like pull him out mid-show.
Like the clamshell bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's.
Can I just add like a completely like sidebar?
Yeah.
Since you mentioned them, I had to look it up, but Song Exploder, which I guess is a podcast, but Netflix did like a a couple. They did a few episodes of a show, like it's like a documentary series they did about, and they only did like 8 episodes or so, but it was they did kind of, it was almost like a behind the music, like how did this song get made? And some, it's like from some modern artists that it's like Dua Lipa, like Ty Dolla $ign. It's like they have talent, but it's like, do you really need to know how like Ty Dolla $ign did this song? It's like, okay, but they actually did an episode, and we watched it, my wife and I, where Trent Reznor discusses how he made Hurt, and he didn't go into like what the lyrics meant or anything like that. He just like talked about actually the composition of the song, and they actually broke it down, and they like stripped it down, and you actually got to see how layered the song is. And by layered I mean like how he would do certain songs that some of it was just like ambient song, like noise in the background, and he'd layered upon layer. It's like it's a multi-layered song where it's like there's ambient sounds that are playing in the background that you don't necessarily pick up unless you know like where they are. But once you know where they are, and like you listen to the song, it actually like, it's like, oh my fucking god, like like your emotions get played because like there's actually like something going on in the background, and it added so much to the song that now I'm like, oh my god. So anyone who thinks like anyone who's like surprised that Trent Reznor has been winning Oscars left and right in recent years for like doing film scores and stuff like that, it's like that's actually what this guy was probably always meant to do with his life. Like he actually is a really talented musician, and I mean like in like music theory and layering music. He just happened to be like, I'm gonna do like a heavy metal, like really alternative, dark, industrial sound, and do a bunch of albums for Nine Inch Nails and stuff. Like, but he layered it so intensely that I'm like, oh wow. Like I love Dua Lipa, but Dua Lipa can be like, I sampled this song from like a 1930s song, and like I put lyrics behind it. It's a hit, and it's like. Meanwhile, Trent Reznor is like, yeah, so I like layered like these 8 different sounds. One of them was a cat scream, and it's like that kind of, I thought, to evoke like, this is the depression I felt at the time, and I'm like, oh god, Trent Reznor's on it. Trent Reznor's on another level.
We do need to talk about the album cover debacle in the movie. Which
the name of the album is "Smell the Glove," and the concept behind it. Let me see if I get this right. It was supposed to be an oiled up naked woman with a dog collar around her neck and a leash leading out of frame with a glove shoved in her face, right?
And they'd already censored that down from what they originally wanted to do.
Yeah. Which blows my mind, right? Like, okay, but I mean, that's the joke.
Yeah.
And then whenever they show up with it, to be honest with you, if it were real, I would have thought it was a great move by the label, where it's just black. How much more black could it be?
I was trying to get a new copy of this.
More black.
That was great. You know what it made me think of? Archer, like slightly darker black. I actually got mad because I wanted a new copy of the CD, and they're re-releasing the black one, but they had ones with like the like Spinal Tap and the band on. It's like, no, I want the black one, like with nothing on it, like you used to have. They are re-releasing that in September, so I was like,
oh, that's
very
good.
happy. But I did like that. It's like, this could be none blacker.
How much more black could it be? The answer is none.
Oh, and I like that.
None more black. And it's like, that is the dumb thing to say in the most pretentious way, trying to sound smart. It's awesome.
And the guy with his pipe always cracked me up too.
Yeah. The damn thing.
But I did like the ending. I like that they got a happy ending. So if you don't know how it ends, spoilers. Who cares?
Spoilers.
Their album charts in Japan was at number 5, so they get to do a tour of Japan where they like do really well, and they get to like live the dream, and that's like their happy ending. So it's not like it's not like the I would say it's not like the ending they expected or you expected, but I think it's like a satisfying ending for the characters.
Yeah, big in Japan. And the the song that caught on was "Working on a Sex Farm." It's like, okay,
It's funny.
all right.
Some of their song titles, I'm like, is that really a Spinal Tap song or is that a Steel Panther song? But
I just sent you guys a thing
I do
about the album cover.
I do enjoy it. It's probably like if you said like list one of your 100 favorite movies, it would probably place in there. But I do. It's not like something I watch every year or anything. But I do like that with it being more subdued. Like if I want to watch it about once a decade is what I do with it. It fades enough that a lot of it feels like you're watching it for the first time again.
I had watched it before, but it had been a long time. So it was, it was familiar, but I didn't remember all the details. It's not a top one for me. Just obviously, I appreciate music and have favorite songs and stuff, but I'm not quote unquote a music guy. So it doesn't resonate with me quite the same.
I thought there were a lot of clever things about it. And I appreciate that this was kind of like, as you said, Chad, like the trope codifier for a mockumentary. I'm watching this. I actually had never seen this before, so I'm watching this like 40 years after.
Yeah.
And so the whole mockumentary thing has
Been
also been done to death, but it's been done.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, like it Christopher Guest in particular has done many
Best in Show, I think, is probably the other most popular one he's done.
Yes. Did he do Waiting for Guffman?
I think so.
He did a bunch.
Yeah.
Let me look.
I tried Best in Show and it didn't work for me. I don't know why not.
That's probably his most.
He got an Oscar for that, I think, didn't he?
Well, let me look that up now. Let me see. He did do Waiting for Guffman. Best in Show. Let me see. Reception.
Oh God, why are you listing them that
93% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It was big. Best in Show was pretty big at the time.
So before Spinal Tap, there were the first thing that at least Wikipedia will put down as a mockumentary was from 1967, and then there was a Woody Allen one and one about ABBA and stuff like that. But I would say that Spinal Tap is the one that really, to borrow a term, codified what mockumentaries are.
Best in Show, A Mighty Wind, For Your Consideration, also Waiting for Guffman. Those are like some of his, I think, mockumentaries.
I think too, it's something I talk about with modern media. I love that with old stuff, especially like Spinal Tap, is it trusts the audience. Like I could see someone watching this and thinking it's like a real documentary, and the movie doesn't care if you find the humor in it or not. Like I think you could actually watch this and think it's real and still think it's good. But I think like if you tried to do this now, it wouldn't work because they wouldn't have the confidence to let things just breathe or like not draw attention to it. Like everything would have to be lampshaded.
Yeah, and most I feel like creators or directors would try to be more not subtle, more overt, and just beat you over the head with it.
Like the herpes,
and
the face herpes is a great example. Like they would have to draw attention to that instead of that just being a detail you might miss.
Yeah.
And it's just a little bit
those details give it rewatchability.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of things are like missing nowadays. It's like there are certain things that you should include to be like you can pick up some of these small things upon rewatch, and you actually want to encourage rewatch because then people can like, oh, you can since I used the word earlier, you can layer things so that, and they could be like minor things, probably is better that they're minor things, and then people can like appreciate them after the fact that it's not something that they have to get right away. But yeah, I guess I liked it. I didn't walk away from it like, oh my god, like this is so obviously a 40-year-old cult classic. Um, it wasn't a movie that I'm like, oh yes, I'm gonna add this to my rotation. But I did appreciate many aspects of it. And one of the things I have to appreciate is that this was kind of like setting the mockumentary trend.
Yeah.
Because there are movies that I've seen that I like better. Like there are other Christopher Guest films better. Like I probably did like Best in Show better. I actually think that some of these, well, Fred Willard, but some other people like Catherine O'Hara that he worked with, in some of these other mockumentaries. Like I think that he kind of like, I'm not gonna say perfected the mockumentary, but I mean I felt it all coalesced a lot better. Uh, well, at this point, over a decade from this movie, he kind of had figured it out. I felt it was more effective to me. I thought those films were funnier than this one, but again, like he's kind of like, this was kind of like creating the genre, sort of. So
Yeah.
there are many things I appreciate about it, and I like that there are a lot of uh amongst the obviously absurd things, like about how like, oh yes, like the whole running gag with the drummers dying. Uh, I like some of the subtle things that they, like it's a, well, this isn't subtle, but I mean like the throwaway gag where they just get lost. They're trying to play the gig and they come out on the stage where like they get lost in the bowels of the
Yeah,
the
Jericho.
venue.
Jericho did
Like,
that on Thunder once.
That
like I
was
thought some of that stuff was fun.
yeah. The only other mockumentary that I could think of, and I had to look at a list to be reminded, aside, Spinal Tap, Best in Show, and the only other one that I could think of that I look at the list, I'm like, okay, like that one I knew enough of in order to say then yes, I would say this is something that is What We Do in the Shadows. Which that just the premise of that kills me. But it's not a genre that really grabs me.
Would Reno 911
Yeah.
count as a mockumentary?
No, Reno 911 was
More
a
satire.
pseudo reality show.
Yeah,
Because it was just a parody of Cops.
Yeah.
kind of. This is like a throwaway. I don't know if this is more the subtle thing, but maybe. But I liked how like Rob Reiner's talking to Ian, the manager, and he's like, like when they last toured, like they were doing like, stadiums of like 10,000 people, and now, they're doing venues that maybe fit like, 1,000, 2,000 people. Like, don't you think that kind of, shows that they're waning popularity? And Ian's just like, oh, I think that their popularity has become more, their client, it's become more selective.
Yeah.
It's like that's exactly the type of answer that the PR answer that a manager would say. Like he was actually a good manager in some ways. Also insane because like they showed him like he carried a cricket bat.
The cricket bat that was
destroy.
It was symbolic. It was not.
He's also kind of insane, but I mean.
Oh, he was definitely.
Like it's like I would. More selective. Like they're refining their fan base.
Well, I going back to like the how subtle it is at times. Like when Fran Drescher's telling them like about the album cover, and they just don't get it. Like no
like,
ability.
Ian, for is so incredulous. It's like, well, they take a phone call. It's like, what? Okay, like, yeah, and the band is so like what they're just oblivious. Like what do you mean? Like why they don't understand why it's offensive.
I think And the characters are good. Like I think the band members are really good. I think that's what makes it memorable for me too, because they're not like too out there. They're kind of believable in their own ways.
Well, Christopher Guest, when he's like, no, there's a problem. There's a problem with this, with the food, and it's like little things. It's like, I've been trying to like make this bread. It's too small, and it's just a whole like 3 minute segment where it's
so
like it's a toast point. It's a toast point
Yeah.
that's like this big, and he's like, I can't make, and the bread falls apart, and then it's like
Well,
he's just like,
you fold the lunch meat, and then he keeps trying to fold the bread on top of it.
and it's just he's just baffled, and it's like it's like it's a pardon my language, it's a fucking charcuterie board. It's
Yeah.
not that deep. Just pick and eat. Like he's just like like just completely like bollocksed by it. Like, this doesn't work. It's got all these problems, and it's like, come on, dude. But that's believable because it's like this is absolutely, kind of like the stereotypical prima donna band.
You
It's
could
like,
see you could see like Murderface having that conversation on Metalopolis, and it would still work.
I think that if you want a spiritual successor that pushes even further into the absurd, Metalocalypse being a spiritual Spinal Tap successor, you could make a good argument for that.
No, there were points where I was like, oh, they had the same conversation on Metalopolis, like the first episode where they have to go to the store because their butler quit on them.
My wife and I use a line from that all the time. It's like, this is what they call food library. Like when one of us needs to go to the store, half the time I need you to go to the food library. And then I have to say, well, technically it's a food bookstore because you can't take the food back.
Yeah. So I saw this came up and I suggested it because I saw an advertisement they're doing a sequel, and I'm just like, I don't need a sequel to this. Like it doesn't warrant a sequel. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean
It
doesn't
wraps up nicely.
Yeah. And like, do they really need careers past like getting their hit in Japan?
I'd be willing to see where they go with it. This is one of those things where it's like, it's the same folks. It's not someone trying to take it and reboot it or something. It's the same group, and they're going to play with it. It's like, okay, I'll be willing to hear it out.
I just kind of like when I saw it, I'm like, oh, do we need a sequel to everything?
no,
No, we don't. Yeah.
but they will.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will.
But like, I think my verdict, if you haven't seen it, it's a fun little romp. It's not long. I think it's like 90 minutes. It's on Pluto TV for free.
It's also on the Internet Archive for free.
Oh, okay.
Oh well, I couldn't make Pluto TV work for me, and I didn't know about Internet Archive, so I bought it on Amazon for like $6. I read it.
You can get like
Well, I shouldn't say I bought it because it's more to buy it, but I rented it for like $6.
you can get like
So-
the Blu-ray for $8. I think when it's on sale, like Black Friday, I think it's always on sale cheap. But like I said, it's a fun little movie. I think I would say like your opinion might be closer to Shad's, where you think it'll be dated, but I think it's worth a watch, especially if you're a Simpsons fan and you've seen like the Spinal Tap episode. You should definitely watch it.
Obviously, there's a Simpsons connection in the sense that Harry Shearer does like multiple voices for the Simpsons and has
Yeah.
for the last like almost 40 years, 35 years. So
He's getting up there. He's 81.
yeah. Well, I had to feel like, I mean, most of the Simpsons stars are like, at this point, if you started The Simpsons like when you were like 20, you're like in your 50s, and
Oh,
those people didn't start. They didn't start in their 20s.
Edna Krabappel's been dead for years. Marge can't even do her voice anymore. Let's see. Harry Shearer voices Mr. Burns, Smithers, Ned Flanders, Reverend Lovejoy, Lenny, Kang, Principal Skinner, Ken Brockman, Otto, and he used to do Dr. Hibbert.
I actually heard a segment from that was Ned Flanders, like from not maybe from a recent season, and it made me sad because it's like the voice. It's like, oh,
You can tell when they're starting to
like
get old.
he's old, like because the Ned Flanders voice, like it wasn't Ned Flanders. Someone said this a long time back at this point. Someone made this point like years ago. And it made me sad because it's like Simpsons was a big part of like I think all of our probably childhood. It's like people don't realize that the early seasons of The Simpsons were so good that it's like this is I would still today say like let's go generous. Some people differ, but like let's go at least like the first 10 seasons. Is some of the best TV of all time. Of all time. And that's a very big, broad statement. I still maintain it's some of the best comedic TV of all time. But the show has been on so long that there is more bad stuff than there has been good stuff.
Oh yeah,
and it
because
makes me
there's
so sad. 'Cause it's like it was so good, and it's like yeah, but then it kept going on for like another 25 years. So
yeah,
it's like 25 years of not good versus 10
'cause-
years of really of absolute best. It's like does it actually work? Like the balance, does the scales balance? And it's like it
I
may
think
not.
I think if you ignore past season 10, because I'll tell you why what the brilliance of The Simpsons is. So the first time I saw Citizen Kane when I was probably in my early 20s, I was like, holy shit, I've seen this entire movie via The Simpsons. Because they've or even like how much of the McBain movie exists through the episodes
Hmm.
that you can see like even in like the video rental place and stuff. It's just, but yeah, I mourn it because I did go back and rewatch it recently, and the first season sucks, but like seasons 3 through like 8, 9 are really strong.
Hmm.
And I've tried to watch newer episodes. Like I even think I tried to watch like a Family Guy or a Futurama crossover, and it was so bad I didn't even make it all the way through. But I think that is it for this week. Do we have anyone else have anything they want to say before we walk away for the night?
I think I've said my piece.
Yep. So that is it for this week. I will be on camera next week because I'll be back in my normal place. I don't know what we're going to do yet. I know we'll probably get back to USWA soon, but that is it for this week. Thank you for joining us as always, and we will catch you next time.